Hello and welcome. This evening I'm going to be introducing you to the Empyrean Deck. Here's the Empyrean Deck. And I'm going to be saying a few things about what the Empyrean Deck is for, how it's designed, and how to use it. For each video I'm going to do a series of short videos, about 5. And in each one of these videos I'm going to introduce you to one of the cards. Just give you some examples, and I'm going to say one thing about the Empyrean Deck and what you might do with it. The first thing I want to say about the Empyrean Deck, so this is the first image that I've decided to start with. It's the garden, and you'll notice that it's a picture of sort of a strange garden, and with a little house in the background, and looks like some water in the back. And you'll also notice that it has a couple of symbols and a couple of keywords and a number, and all those things have a meaning, but don't worry about that. Today, I just want to say that this deck is really very simple. And after I've explained what these icons mean and what these words mean, you'll say, oh yeah, it's actually really simple. What's simple about it is you can see that it's a picture of a garden, and the name of the card is garden, and you pretty much already know what a garden is and what a garden is all about. In principle, all of the cards are like this. In other words, if you look at a card, the image and the words on it should be so clear that, unlike a tarot deck, for example, you don't need a guidebook. So, for example, I'm just going to ask you, think about a garden that you have been to recently or go to regularly. Just think about it. Just remember what it's like to be there. What kinds of things do you do there? What kinds of things happen there? What's the weather like? How are you dressed? Who are you with? Ask yourself, or I'll ask you for you and save you the trouble, what kinds of emotions come up? You know, what memories, anything that's relevant to a garden. That is the correct meaning of garden. And if you were to pull this card in a spread, I would essentially have to ask you, well, what does a garden mean to you? I could guess, right? Because a garden is one of those primitive, simple, ancient archetypal notions, and that if you look, and actually this is the other nice thing about it, you don't even ever have to have been to a garden yourself. If you know any stories or myths, or have read any books or seen any movies involving a garden, or where characters at some point in the story pass through a garden, look, all you have to do is look at what that garden is doing in the story, what happens there. And I bet you it's going to be the same thing. That's what's so interesting about these sort of simple ideas, that we all sort of think of the same things, not just because we all know the meaning of the word garden, but because there's something about the idea of a garden. There's this sort of nearly universal concept. But of course, it's going to be a little bit different for you. It's going to have a very specific flavor for you. And that specific flavor is what's going to be relevant when we do some kind of reading or discovery session and you pull this card. So you don't need a glossary. Thanks for listening. Tune in to the next video, which will begin in about 10 seconds.